Hey guys, it's Mrs. Cutting, and I am going to go over with you everything that is going to be on our Algebra Test Part 1, so the first half of Unit 6. So please pause to write down that title. All right, so Part 1 is matching equations to tape diagrams, and this comes from section 1.2 on page 6. So I have two tape diagrams here. This one is one group of x plus one group of 6, and together it's making 12. So these would be equations where I'm adding or subtracting to make 12. This one, I have three groups of x making 12. So here I'm looking for ways to multiply, divide, or use repeated addition to make that 12. So please pause to copy that down. So for the group of x and the group of 6, I have 6 plus x equals 12. I can switch that order. X plus 6 equals 12. We can do 12 minus 6 equals x, and 12 minus x equals 6. And for our three groups of x equals 12, we can do 3 times x equals 12. X times 3 equals 12. 12 divided by x equals 3. 12 divided by 3 equals x, and then x plus x plus x equals 12. So please pause to copy that down. The next part is drawing tape diagrams. This comes from section 1.3, which is on page 7. So we need to draw a tape diagram for 15 equals x plus 9. So this is telling me I have one group of x, one group of 9. In total, it's going to make 15. So I need to draw my rectangle. My smaller part should be x, my bigger part should be 9, and then I need to draw that bracket showing that total it's 15. So there's my group of 9, group of x, total it's 15. And then my other one, I have 10 equals 5x, or 5 times x. So this is looking for 5 groups of x. So I'm going to label each of these x. And together that equals 10. So please pause to copy that down. All right, this next part comes from Lesson 2 and Section 4.3, and this is equations that match the story. So there's going to be a story problem, and you need to decide which of the equations represent the story. If it's an addition or subtraction story, we can write addition and subtraction equations. So please pause to write that down. So if x plus 10 equals 32 matches, then so does 10 plus x equals 32, because I can switch that order around. Or I should have two subtraction ones that I can write. 32 minus 10 equals x, and 32 minus x equals 10. If it's a multiplication or division story, we can write multiplication and division equations. So please pause to write that down. So if 6 times x equals 42 matches, then so does, we can switch the order here, x times 6 equals 42. Or I can write it as division, 42 divided by 6 equals x, or 42 divided by x equals 6. Please pause to write that down. The next part comes from Lesson 3, page 20, excuse me, page 20. This is equations to match the hanger. So you're going to see a hanger and you're going to have to write an equation, or what equation that's representing. So please pause to copy that down. So on this side of my hanger, I have one group of x and one group of 7, and it's going to be equal to 15. This one, I have 3 groups of y, and it's going to be equal to 12. So I'm going to write this as x plus 7 equals 15. And I'm going to write this one as, I could write it y plus y plus y, or I can write it as 3 times y, or 3y, equals 12. All right. Next part is solving equations, which comes from section 4.3, page 22. And our important thing to remember is that we need to do the same thing to both sides, but it also needs to be the opposite of whatever they did to our letter or our variable. So please pause to copy all that down if you did not yet. So I have x plus 4 equals 10. So since they added 4, I need to subtract 4 from both sides. Plus 4 and then minus 4 just makes 0, so I just have x left. And 10 minus 4 gives me 6. Here they did 3 times x equals 12. So I need to do the opposite. I need to divide by 3 on both sides. If I multiply by 3 and then divide by 3, that just gives me 1x, or just x. And 12 divided by 3 gives me 4. This is 1/3 times x equals 5. So I need to end up dividing by 1/3. So if I multiply by 1/3, then divide by 1/3, that just gives me x. On this side, I need to do 5 divided by 1/3, which we can write that as 5 over 1 divided by 1/3, and we can do, it would be this times this on our top and this times this on our bottom, or we can write it as 5 over 1 times, and flip this upside down, 3 over 1. Either way, it will give me 15 over 1, or just 15. So my x equals 15. And here I am adding 12 and 56/100ths, so I need to subtract 12 and 56/100ths from both sides. Let's see, it would take 44 to make the whole. And then I would have 5 left. So 5 and 44/100ths. Let me go back and show my work. So I had to borrow from here, so this is 10, but it's really 9. So this is 10, so that makes 4, that makes 4, that makes 5. All right, please pause to get all that down. The next thing comes from section 6.3, which is page 32 and 33, and this is building expressions. And yes, you have to copy down the story problem, I know. Mary has 4 times as many songs downloaded as Larry. How many does Mary have if Larry has 6, 10, or x? So please pause to write that down. So Mary has 4 times as many, so I'm just going to put a little note right here. Mary has more. So if Larry has 6, then Mary's going to have 6 times 4. Or 4 times 6. So she is going to have 24. If Larry has 10, then she's going to have 4 times 10, so 40. And if he has x, then she's going to have 4 times x. And we just leave that one like that. All right, very last part. This comes from Lesson 8, the Lesson 8 summary, pages 44 and 45. This is equivalent expressions, which are other ways to write the same thing. So I have 3 times a. I can write that as a times 3. That would be the same. I can write it with the times sign, 3 times a. I could write it as a plus a plus a, because that would be 3 groups of a. Or I can write it as 2a plus a. For 2a plus 4, I can switch the order of my addition. I can write that as 4 plus 2a. I could split up my a's and write it as 4 plus a plus a. I could write it the really long way, which would be a plus a, there's my 2 a's, plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. There would be my 2a plus 4. And then my last one, a plus 6. I can switch my order around and do 6 plus a. I could break up my 6 into 3 plus 3, so a plus 3 plus 3. I could write it the really long way, 1 group of a plus 6 ones. All right, please pause to write all that down. Sorry this video ended up being so long, but thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm just trying to be a real YouTuber for a second. All right, see you next time.